Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be discussing about Azure API Management. API Management is a service that allow you to manage all your APIs in a centralized place. To do a demo, we need to have a API. So in this case, I will be using the Pet Store API that is available over the internet. It has a number of endpoints. So for instance, like this particular endpoint, to get a pet, you need to call the endpoint with this particular parameter. So it is going to return a pet. So if you click here, there is a open API specification. You can download that. As we have a API now, let's try to create a API management and see like how do we use the features. So now I have a API management service here. As you see here, like this is where like we can manage all our APIs. To begin with, you can click on this open API. So that is going to give you the prompt here. So said like you can copy this JSON file, you can download this JSON file, or you can just copy this URL here. So in this case, like I have copied that URL here. That will automatically populate the information as this JSON has all this information. So when you click on create, it is going to create a API here. As you see here, like there is a Swagger Pet Story API created, and as you see here, like there are a number of endpoints or operations created here. You can test these. Okay, so before we test this, so like as you see here, like there are a number of tabs. So let's look into that. So the first one is setting. So here where like you can make the changes if at all you wanted to have it. For instance, it's called Pet Store. So if you decided to change it, you can change it here, or any other changes if at all you wanted to do it, you can do it here. Then you can do a testing. So to do a testing, you have to pick up a operation or a endpoint. So in this case, I will be using this find the pet by the ID. So as you know, like we need to pass the pet ID here. That would be in the integer. So then like if you click on send, then it is going to return the pet. Next tab hits a revision. So here where like whenever you make a change to the specification, you can see that information here. Policies, like there are many places where like you can apply policy. So when you go to the API, when you click on all operations, these like whatever the policy that you are going to apply here, that is going to impact all the endpoints or all the operations. So again, within the policy, there are four separate sections. So let's see. So as you see here, basically like what you have to do, you have to click on any of these sections to get into this policy editor here. So as you see here, there is a inbound policy, and there is a backend policy, and there is a outbound policy, and there is a error policy. So inbound policy, like whenever a request coming into the APIM, APM will make certain changes or certain modifications before it pass that request to the backend system. So in this case, like the APM demo, it's the API, it is the front end that is going to receive the request, and before it sends the request to the backend system, if at all you wanted to make certain changes, you can do so in the inbound section. And outbound, like when when a backend sends the response and you wanted to modify the response before you send the response back to the requester, you in the outbound section. And in case of any errors, you don't want to return the error message, rather like you wanted to make a custom message, you can do so in the on error configuration, on error section. So so let's see like here in the inbound section, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to do a rate limit. And the renewal period is 60 seconds, and this would be based on the subscription ID. And in the outbound, we are adding a header here. So as you see here, when you send a request, if you inspect the trees, like at the bottom, there are two options here. One, you can send, or you can do a tracing. So when you do a tracing, it is going to print all the logs. Send, just send and receive the information without any additional logs. But the like a trace, it's where like you will get lot of information, like how long it takes, how does it process, if there are any errors, what kind of like what exactly the error is, all those information you can get it when you do a tracing. So as you see here, like as we have set the outbound, we set the header. You can see the header information here. Also, like we did the rate limit, that information you can see it here. If at all you wanted to make a change to a specific operation, you can definitely do so by clicking on the operation and click on this particular section to make the change be applicable only to this particular operation. Then we have a products here. So basically, like if at all you wanted to group the APIs, you can create a product. uh, APIs by itself, it's a set of operations or endpoints, and if at all you wanted to group the APIs, then you can create a product. So you can click on this add button to create a product, and you need to populate this information, this particular window here. So basically, like display name and the like ID for the product, a description, and you have to choose the APIs here. Here I have only one API, so I am selecting that Swagger Pet Store API here. When you do so, like you will see, when you click on the create button, then it will get created. You will see that product information here. And when you click on that particular product, this particular page will be shown here, where like you can make the changes. So as you see here, like if at all you wanted to add any additional APIs, you can do so by clicking on this. And the like policies can be applied for the product also. Yeah, you can click on this one and then add the policies. And you can create a subscription for the policy. So let's say like you have a product that you wanted to share with multiple people or multiple different companies. So for each company you will create a subscription. Again, like for the individual subscription, we have applied a rate limiting. So that's how we do, like we have a endpoint, and the, like we have a APIs, and the, like you have a product. For a product you have a subscription. The subscription key will be provided to the the clients, and they will be using this, and the like rate limit will be applied on the subscription. So now that we created a product and a subscription, so we can make a call to the APIM with the subscription key, uh, and you will get the result. As you see here, like we are making a call to the APIM URL, but the, like again the request will be sent back to the backend system, which is the pet store system, and the results will be populated. A number of requests per second, it's controlled by the rate limit. Then comes the named values. The named values, consider this as a kind of a dictionary. Sometimes you wanted to have a static value, or you may wanted to read this value from a different source. So there are a number of options we have. So let's if you click on this one, you can create a named value here. So let's say like I wanted to hard code my pet id here, which more purposes. So I have a pet id here, and I'm making the value one. Type its plain text, or you can do a secret, or you can make it as you can read it from keyword. So if you wanted to read it from a keyword, basically what you have to do, you have to create a managed identity for your APIM, and this particular managed identity should have access uh, on the key vault. And like you can connect to that particular key vault, and read the values from the key vault. So in this case, I'm just using the plain text here. So you see here, like we created a named value with a value of one, and you can use it. So as you see here, like I'm just for a demo purposes, I'm just printing this value here. So we created a named value, which is kind of a dictionary, right? The value can be a plain text or a secret value, or it can come from a keyword. I'm just printing it, but you can use it in a many different ways, right? So if you go here, if you click on this end button, or maybe like a trace button, you will see that particular information printed here. So as you see here, like in the policy, we are adding a header here. The value comes from the named values that we created, and the value of that named value, it's one. So and that's get printed here. Then we have a credentials manager. So let's assume that you have a third party system, and in order to access so that third party system, it's your backend system, and you wanted to access that. To do so, like you have to pass the credentials. So you don't want to hard code your values. So let's assume that this backend system supports the token based authentication. So what you can do, you can create a credentials provider here. So you can click on this button to create a client credentials provider. Pass this information. So let's pretend that I have Azure Active Directory, and I will be using the client ID and client secret to create a token. And using this token, I should be able to access the backend system. So now I created this, like I have a client ID and client secret configured. So now I wanted to make use of that, right? So the way you use it in the policy section, you create a get authentication and provider, get the name from that previous section, uh, and there is going to be authorization ID again, like that both are like here, right? So here you have this provider name, and the same will be used for a authorization ID as well. So now this is going to give us the authentication token that I'm storing it in the auth context variable, right? And like I'm just printing that value here. So basically, like I'm setting the authorization header with the access token. So let's say like the backend system, needs the access token. This is how you can pass the access token. And the like as you see here, that gets when you make a call, the access token gets printed here. So this is how the tokens are generated and being sent to the backend system. And then like there are quite a few options available here. For instance, like you can build a developer portal here to publish your API information. And most important thing is that you can associate application insight with your APIM. That way, like for the individual calls, you can track the like the duration, any errors related to that, any duration and all those information, all those insights you can get it when you create a application insight and associate with that. Okay, so apart from that, we also have a custom domain. So by default, the APM will get the domain from Microsoft, but you can also have your custom domain. So basically, you have to create a entry in your DNS and then like add it here. That's it. That's how you create a custom domain here. Uh, that's all we have for this particular demo. Thank you for watching.